We're on our way to Chicago to visit a children's hospital where landscape architect Mikyoung has just completed one of her healing gardens.
Hi, Alex.
Hi.
Welcome to Ann and Robert H. Lurie Children's Hospital of Chicago. This is the Crown Sky Garden. It's a 5,000 square foot garden. It is a centerpiece of this hospital. It's actually on 2 floors, 11 and 12. What the kids really were telling Mikyoung is that they want things to be open. Once they realized that they wanted to keep this as an open space, they had a nationwide search and found Mikyoung from Boston. What's neat about her is she's this amazing landscape architect, and she came here and she showed us her design, and they knew right away, the Crowns knew that this is what they wanted here. They hired her and they developed this space. From the different interviews that I've heard her give and other people, that kids don't do well in closed spaces. They become very anxious. So for them, they like places where they can run around. They want it to be this big open space, a respite area for families as well as our staff. If spaces like this really do aid healing of patients. And that's why she created it like this. She brought in so many different elements. These little benches that were created from wood used during the Columbian Exposition back in the late 1800s. These kids come to these benches, they just start crawling all over them. And the other thing too that's kind of cool is these kids put their hands here, and then the benches do different things. You can hear water or frogs, they light up. You can hear nature. And she brought nature into this hospital.
Mikyoung discusses her process at a foundry in Philadelphia.
Nice to meet you, Alex. Yeah, welcome. I think, we wanted to really bring you here and share with you our process and give you a sense of this new project that's going in, the scale, so you can kind of see it from the ground up. I think there are always things we learn through the process. We learn what the light's going to do, and then there'll be an added dimension of learning what the fog does. We try as best as we can to understand what the sculpture is going to look like in the studio, but it's very difficult. We've probably built 40 models of this at varying scales, full scale, studying the perf pattern and the fold, to looking at the whole plaza, and just understanding what this is actually going to be at full scale. And then today we have a chance to really refine certain things, like it's too clunky, we can shave things off. We've never seen it before, we've never experienced this, and so it's a process of just trying to understand as close as we can get to the actual thing. Essentially, what we do as part of the process also, because a lot of the work is really, you can't say, okay, it looks just like this. Oh, it's a rectangle. Oh, that the clients can come here and see actually what this looks like before it comes to the site. Because it can often be a shock. They see this giant monstrosity coming to the site and they've never seen it before. So it's a great way of incorporating them into the process. It's called Exhale, and it's a project that collects rainwater runoff and essentially exhales it out of the ground. And so the perf and the lighting is all about this choreography of an experience of something that's about sustainability. It's about taking water from the site. It's taking a problem that they have. Most sites have a kind of limit of how much runoff they can allow off their site, especially when they do new development. So we're retaining that runoff, storing it underground, and then exhaling it when we have it. And so it becomes a kind of amenity for the community. It's not something that utilizes water in a wasteful fashion. So it's kind of win-win for everybody. Yeah. And then the lights have a kind of choreography of on and off. And so we design that as well, light scoring, and it's very much like scoring music. We score each of these individual LEDs, and the technologies of LEDs have become so powerful that it allows for us to create a sequencing of light that we couldn't do before. So the lights fill these spaces all between, and what happens is that they'll turn on and off as the mist turns on and off as a kind of sequence. So the sculpture will kind of breathe in its own way.
Most landscape architects don't design artworks like this. Can you explain some of your thinking behind this?
Well, it's something that, because I have a background both in sculpture and landscape architecture and design, it's a kind of hybrid. And then on top of that, there's a kind of choreography which comes from my undergrad study of music. And so I think that I've been able to, in the work, kind of bring together a kind of, the landscape becomes a performance, it becomes an experience. And for me, that's so important. It really comes from our kind of the base work that we did from when I started my practice, which is with kids. And with kids, there was this real freedom that we had in defining what play is in the public realm. And so they don't want something that's just flat, right? They want something that's three-dimensional and that engages the public. When we go and talk to arts commissioners, and this is an arts commission actually, we say, you know, we can actually do it all. We're licensed landscape architects, we're planners, so we actually did the overall master plan of this area. We did the arts master plan for them, and then we developed such a great relationship with them that we designed this plaza and the sculpture. And so it was like a multifaceted situation. When clients come to us, they're generally looking for something very unique. So they're looking for somebody who can do sculpture, public art, they can do performative works with light, they can do landscape, and they can do planning work, and that they can bring all of those together. We think of this as landscape architecture. This is part of what we do. And I think with our knowledge of sustainability and ecology and paving, plant material, metal, lighting, all of that comes together to create something I think that's often dynamic and exciting for the public.